2020 marks 50 years since Britain's last pre-decimals, and in this video snapshot we're looking at the very last pre-decimal threepence. The threepence, also known as a threepenny bit or joey, was, as the name would suggest, a coin worth 3 pennies. There were 80 of them to the pound. The threepence was initially a silver coin that was both small, at just 16.3mm diameter, and light. And just consider, it was smaller in diameter than the current 5p coin and less than half the weight. This made it unpopular, something in fact that had plagued it throughout its history, and so from 1937 onwards it became a larger 12-sided coin minted in nickel brass. This last type of threepence, which was the last coin of the pre-decimal era, was 21.8mm diameter and was the model for our new 12-sided pound coin. In the 20th century, King Edward VII and King George V both produced silver threepences in virtually every year of their reigns, and it was even minted in the first 9 years of King George VI's reign, while the transition to the 12-sided brass version took place. That brass threepence was produced in all but 1 year of King George VI's reign and in every year of Elizabeth II's reign up until 1967. As part of the imperial coinage system, threepences have been produced in other countries including Australia, New Zealand, Fiji, Ireland, South Africa and Rhodesia, although the brass 12-sided threepence was only ever produced in Britain. The very last pre-decimal threepence was a special minting of coins dated 1970 for collectors that were never released into circulation. Although King Edward VI produced the first threepences, it's some coins produced by Queen Elizabeth I that collectors find interesting. These were the first threepences to feature their year of issue, and this innovation was brought about with the idea to make the threepence of Queen Elizabeth I look distinctive from the fourpence. The two coins were virtually the same size, and in a population most of whom could not read, the date was a distinct point of difference between the two coins. Other interesting threepences were among the last struck from silver. The brass threepence had been introduced in 1937, but for 9 years both versions of the threepence were minted to ease the transition. From 1942 onwards, though, the coins were mainly exported to the West Indies, so although they have large mintages and are part of the British series, they aren't often found here. The very last pre-decimal threepence of 1970 is also special. With Britain changing over to decimal currency in 1971, and the threepence having no place in the new decimal system, there was no intention to produce large volumes of coins that had to be removed from circulation. So the 1970 issue was only produced in a small quantity for collectors. As a result of this, the last year of pre-decimal threepence, dated 1970, is the smallest mintage of any threepence of Queen Elizabeth II's reign. We hope you've enjoyed this short look at the British pre-decimal threepence.